everyone, welcome back to Nails Before Films. Today I'll be going through how I made the Fire Girl and Water Boy nails for my Elemental review video. I still don't remember their names. Anyway, the link for that is in the description. Again, this isn't really a tutorial, I'm just going through how I did the nails. So please comment below if you have any suggestions for me. Let's get right into it. First, the supplies. Again, not sponsored. I used Apres Gel X Natural Almond Short Size 8 for my pinky. To prepare the nails, file off the prickly ends using a 100 grit file and buff the surface with a 180 grit file to remove the shine. Next, for the base color, since neither of them is human, I won't be using a nude base for their faces. Finally, I get to use some other colors. I used 2 coats of Seaweed Gel's 3-step Sunburst for Fire Girl and 2 coats of Seaweed's Pool Party for Water Boy. For Fire Girl, because she literally is fire, I used the technique of painting flaming nails. I found Nail Career Education's Red Hot Flaming Nails tutorial video the most helpful. So check it out if you want to create flaming nails. The link to that video is also in the description. Anyway, of course, I couldn't completely follow the tutorial. I had to change some things to create Fire Girl's look. First of all, obviously, I didn't use a black base because her face is mostly orange. Next, I tried using red, orange, and yellow like the tutorial, but couldn't get the right look. Then I realized that her face was actually mostly orange and yellow. There really wasn't any red. After using only orange and yellow, I managed to get a better look. So to create the flaming effect, I first used the same gel polish as the base to draw a V shape around the middle of the nail tip with the opening of the V pointed towards the tip. Then drop some yellow polish near the tip of the nail. I used Seaweed's Unity Sunshine here. Next, using a detail brush, drag the yellow polish towards the orange, swirling a bit as you go. Repeat this process until you're happy with the flaming effect. You may need to wipe your brush clean a few times because the orange polish will get on the brush. So if you use it on the yellow again, you'll get orange in the yellow. Once you're happy with the look, cure it as usual. After finishing the flaming effect, I used Golden Fluid Acrylic's Carbon Black again to draw her facial features, starting with her eyes. Similar to my Barbie nail, I painted her entire eye area with black. It's easier to fill in the middle with white later than trying to draw thin black outlines. Next, I drew her brows with the black and made it look like she was in distress. Now that her eyes and brows were finished, I added the white to her eyes and put 2 small black dots in the middle as her pupils. Then I drew an upside down V as her nose. As for her mouth, I first drew just a frown, but later I didn't like that look that much, so I ended up filling the area with black. Because I wanted Fire Girl to be crying, I added some red gouache down her eyes. I know she cried in the movie, but I didn't bother to check what color her tears were. I don't care that much about accuracy for movies I don't like. Next, I filled in her mouth with red and added some white on top. I wasn't sure that was how her mouth looked when opened, but again, I didn't care. Then, because I thought her tears didn't look defined enough, I added some black along with the red. I also touched up the white in her eyes and redid her pupils because I accidentally got some black in that area. Lastly, I added a little bit of red on the bottom of her mouth because the white basically covered the entire area when I painted it on. And that's basically it. Apply Seaweed's No Wipe Top Coat, cure, and Fire Girl is done. Next, for Water Boy, to achieve his water effect, I put small drops of Seaweed's Mirage, Pool Party, and white on the nail. Then gently blend it together with the gel brush. don't blend it too much. You still want to sort of see the individual colors. So I basically dab the polishes with my brush instead of brushing them together. After you're happy with the look, cure the nail. So after curing the nail, I wanted the darker blue and white to be more prominent. So I added some more Mirage and white and blended it in. Again, cure the nail and you have the water effect. Next, I used a larger dotting tool and Bio Seaweed's white to draw his eyes. And because I wanted him to look like he was crying, I then used a smaller dotting tool to make his eyes look watery. The point here is to try not to make his eyes symmetrical by making the smaller dots around his eyes irregular in position and size. The watery eye look will be more natural. After you're happy with the shape of his eyes, cure it before drawing his pupils with black acrylic paint. To achieve that watery eye look, don't just draw black dots in his eyes as pupils. Make it a bit shaky and less round so that he really looks like he's crying. For his nose, draw a sideways C shape just below the space between his eyes. I then added his brows and mouth, which was an opened mouth frown like Fire Girl's. Next, to draw Water Boy's tears, I used the smaller dotting tool to add some white dots down his eyes with gel polish. The point here is to add some dots on the bottom of his eyes to make it look like tears are overflowing from his eyes. Cure the white polish and the teardrops are done. I then added white to his mouth and touched up some black until I was happy with the ratio. For this next part, I don't think it's necessary. I thought the eyes and tears weren't defined enough, so I added black shaky outlines around them. However, now that I look at it again, I think no outline is fine too. Let me know which one you think is better in the comments. I also thickened his nose a bit, and because I wanted to make his frown more apparent, I changed it to a clenched teeth look. And that's it. Apply top coat, cure, and Waterboy is done. That's basically how I did these two nails. The movie wasn't terrible, it had its moments, but it definitely didn't live up to Pixar's standards, which was why I made both characters cry. Anyway, you can always check out my full review if you're interested. Again, you can change things up, make them cuter, change their expressions, etc., etc. Hope you find this video helpful. I've listed the supplies I used in the description. If you have any questions or suggestions for me, feel free to leave them in the comments. As always, like, subscribe, comment, share, do what you want. Keep nailing it and check out my Elemental movie review if you haven't yet, people.